Welcome to Genius Extracts. Today we are going to share the best 15 books about the history you must read. Let's not waste any time and jump into the list.
1. Pre-Colonial Black Africa by Cheikh Anta Diop. Africa's history prior to colonization is not widely addressed in courses on world history. It's more of a blip than anything, although you might learn a little about Mansa Musa and Egypt, especially where it meets with Greece and Rome. It's true that there is a lot of world history to cover, particularly for a poorly paid public school teacher, but Africa had a fascinating past before Europe tried to use it as a resource. This book fills that need. It compares the social and political structures of ancient African civilizations to those of modern Europe, written by a Senegalese anthropologist and historian, to demonstrate precisely how much Africa actually contributed to the growth of the globe. This one, however, should be noted because it was released in 1960. When defining ancient communities, some of the terms used back then, such as primitive, are not ones we would use today and carry a different meaning. 2. History's Greatest Lies by William Weir. The biggest game of gossip we've been engaging in with one another is put to an end by this book. Weir examines 15 historical myths that have been repeated so frequently that they have come to be believed to be genuine. He first uncovers the truth behind each myth, and then typically explains how it came to be so misunderstood, which was usually on purpose. He even names notable people who avoided repercussions as a result of these beliefs. There is plenty of knowledge in this book for the next time you are at a party and have the opportunity to be that person because each chapter is devoted to a different common myth. 3. A History of the World in 100 Objects by Neil MacGregor. A History of the World in 100 Objects might become your new best buddy if you feel the need to brush up on your knowledge of history but are scared or bored by bulky textbooks with endless combat details. What was originally intended to be a BBC broadcast rapidly evolved into an amazing historical book. Neil MacGregor uses examples of things people have built throughout human history and how these things have affected our present to convey history in an engaging and amusing manner. 4. Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. A timeline of human history from the birth of Homo sapiens to the 21st century is provided in Yuval Noah Harari's book Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. As our tour guide, Harari takes us through the evolution of our species, but it also covers a lot more ground. He contends that, among other things, we may never be able to completely avoid social biases and that many uniquely human inventions, such as trade, religion, and politics, are due to our distinctive cognitive capacity for fiction. A captivating book, Sapiens is as much a work of philosophy as it is of science, anthropology, or history. 5. A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. Anyone who wants to learn about the real history of the U.S. from the perspectives of real people, such as factory workers, immigrants, African Americans, Native Americans, and many other groups of people who were ignored and marginalized for years should read Howard Zinn's one of the most influential American history books of all time. Although A People's History of the United States is an excellent history book, controversy still surrounds it because it was one of the first publications in the U.S. to tell its history from a different perspective. 6. Europe, A History by Norman Davies. Don't be put off by Europe, A History's enormous size. The audiobook is about 62 hours long. This is the book you should read if you can only read one book about European history in your entire life. The entire history of Europe is covered by Norman Davies, from the Ice Age to the events of the 20th century. Regardless of your familiarity with European history or perhaps precisely because of it, it is a fascinating read. It will be ideal for college students majoring in European history, advanced high school students, or anybody else looking to broaden their intellectual horizons. 7. The Silk Roads, A New History of the World by Peter Frankopan. In his book, Peter Frankopan tells the story of the world mostly from the viewpoint of Asia rather than Europe or North America. From the dates it was first used until the 20th century, it covers the history of the nations that make up the Silk Road region, a tale that spans more than 2 millennia. Check out the Silk Roads if you want a thorough and fascinating read on Asia and its impact on other continents and cultures. 8. The History of the Ancient World, From the Earliest Accounts to the Fall of Rome by Susan Wise Bauer. The History of the Ancient World by Susan Wise Bauer will be your finest travel companion if you're looking for a book to help you brush up on, or learn about for the first time, your understanding of significant events from ancient history. The author provides just the right amount of background knowledge for you to navigate various historical periods with ease in the future, without going into great depth about each era. 9. 1493, Uncovering the New World Columbus, created by Charles C. Mann. Charles C. Mann primarily concentrates on the Columbian Exchange in this book. By doing so, the book illustrates how the destiny of humanity as a whole was irreversibly altered and molded following Columbus' journey in 1492, and how it continues to have an impact on the global economy, trade, agriculture, and even the environment of our globe. One of the best history books you can read, 1493, Uncovering the New World Columbus Created, explains how a single event changed the course of human history. 10. Maoism, A Global History by Julia Lovell. The book's title pretty much says it all. It traces the development of Maoism, Mao Zedong's interpretation of Marxism-Leninism, from its origins in the 1930s through its relationship to world history. Julia Lovell examines numerous significant events of the 20th century, both inside and outside of China, through this prism. This book should absolutely be added to your reading list if you want to learn more about the politics, history, and culture of the nation with the largest population in the world. 11. SPQR, A History of Ancient Rome by Mary Beard. How many history books do you know with odd names? SPQR, without a doubt, A History of Ancient Rome is one of them. Centus Populusquum Nous, or SPQR, is a 4-letter acronym that stands for Centus Populusquum Nous and means, the Roman Senate and People, in English. It was used on Roman coins, papers, and monuments. With all 600 pages devoted to the history, culture, and society of the Roman Empire, Mary Beard has produced one of the best works on Roman history. If you want to understand more about world history or the evolution of our modern society, you should add this book to your reading list without a doubt. After all, the Romans had a significant impact on how we view the world today. 12. The Story of Art by E. H. Gombrich. One of the best art history books available was written by E. H. Gombrich, and it is ideal for anyone who wants to understand about art and how it has changed over time. The Story of Art takes you on a protracted historical journey through a prism of breathtaking artwork from all throughout the world, beginning with early cave paintings. Additionally, this book is written in simple terms, so even those unfamiliar with art need not worry. 13. War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. How this enormous work of fiction wound up on our list of the top history books may be a mystery to you. The best historical account of Russia at the time of Napoleon's invasion is actually War and Peace. It is incredibly precise when it comes to recounting historical events and provides a perfect sense of what provincial life in the nation looked like during this time. 14. The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, A History of Nazi Germany by William L. Shirer. Another classic work that provides insight into the circumstances that gave rise to and maintained Nazi Germany is The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Nearly 60 years after it was first published, it still holds true today, and it might even be more important since that nationalism and bigotry have once again increased. The creation, peak, and fall of the Third Reich are all covered in great depth by William L. Shirer. Despite its focus on a gruesome and horrific subject, this book is regarded as one of the best histories ever written. Particularly in the times we currently live in, so that we are aware of these awful events and can comprehend what went wrong. 15. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, An Indian History of the American West by D. Brown. One of the best resources on Native American history is this book. It explores the complex history of atrocities and conflicts from the viewpoint of Native American tribes. We have a deeper appreciation of the horrible sacrifices Native Americans had to make through battle, forced migration, and other means thanks to D. Brown's book. Because it is so frank and real, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee is not an easy book to read and will leave you heartbroken and devastated. It is unquestionably one of the most significant history books you will ever read, though.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Also comment your favorite book in the comment box.